we're going to be talking about budgeting and staying within your budget in 2022. And one popular way to do that is to control expenses. So we're going to talk about how you can control expenses. So I have set out my budget for 2022 for our group practice. And my goal is really to stay on budget this year. That's a big one for me. While I love setting budgets, I also love going out of budget sometimes because things come up or things are shiny or things, just happen when you have a group practice, but even when you have a solo practice, these things happen. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all of my expenses for January once the end of the month is over. And I'm going to look at all of them and I'm going to put them in categories. I'm going to look at things that are, non-negotiables, absolutely necessary to the bottom line of our business. So things like rent, things like utilities, Psychology Today profiles, websites, things that absolutely I cannot get rid of. And then I'm going to put something in a category of things that maybe moved forward the business, but things that maybe aren't a recurring expense or something that maybe I could look at. Like maybe that was a training, or this month, for instance, we're paying for a videographer and photography for our group practice. That's not a recurring expense. And that's something that's like in that middle that is going to be beneficial. I'm super excited about our video and I'm super excited about the photographs that are being taken, but it is something that's not necessarily necessary to move forward our practice. And then I'm going to put things in like, we could cut this. This could be, this could be cut. This shouldn't have an expense. Or, let's think about this. And then I'm also going to look at maybe in that first category, things that are like absolutes. Are there ways that I can get discounts on some of those things? Are there ways that maybe if I am like, maybe I'm going to push really hard to refer a couple people to, Psychology Today or Brighter Vision so I can get discounts, or, maybe I can take a look at, some other kind of like recurring payment to see if it really is in line with my practice. Do I really, need to, I'm trying to think of something like maybe like, check the inventory on toilet paper, something as simple as that to see where expenses can be cut. If you're not staying within your budget, you're going to have to cut expenses somewhere. And usually, you cut the trim, you're over here and you say, okay, I'm not going to do that. Are you in budget? Then you cut the extras or you plan for the extras, right? Like this videographer is something that I have planned for. I put money aside for it. The money is there. So even though it's coming out of that monthly budget for January, really, this is something that I put money away over a period of time. So that's something else that you can really start to look at. If there are bigger things that you need to, pay for, put money aside in an account so then it doesn't hit your budget all in 1 month. The other thing that you can really look at doing is really asking yourself, what moves my business forward? So take a look at your Psychology Today profile or anything that you pay for marketing. Are you getting referrals from there? Where's the number one place that you're getting referrals? Are your marketing dollars actually going towards good referrals for your practice? If not, maybe it's time to put your Psychology Today profile in as inactive. Or if you have been paying for if you've been paying for Google AdWords and you're full and you don't need any more referrals, turn your AdWords off. If you have been putting money into Facebook ads and you're full, take a look at that. If you're not full, you want to continue to do that because it's going to align with your goals. So if you haven't already set your goals for 2022, definitely want to do that. That was the first thing that I did when I take a look at my budget, is I wanted it to align with my goals. So that's really important. Maybe there's somewhere else that you won't spend as much money in, or maybe you invested in a private practice coach this year because you really want to, grow your business. That makes sense for your goals. So at the same time that you're cutting things, I really want you to make sure that your expenses align with your goals. If your goal is to have a virtual only practice, drop your office. You don't need your office space anymore. A lot of people are dropping their office. It's a big expense. It's a huge expense for any practice, whether that's a solo practice or a group practice, is your office. If you're doing mostly online counseling and you want to continue to do that, if you haven't already gotten rid of your office, get rid of it. You don't need it. Virtual is so booming right now. 2 years into, the pandemic, almost 3 years. Is it 2 years? I think it's almost 3 years since this pandemic. Time has evaded me. So you can really think about creative and strategic ways to cut expenses and align your expenses with your practice and your goals. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes, before I get to a few more tips on how to really align your budget with your practice and your goals. If you're looking for an electronic health record that's really full service, that won't break the budget, I want you to check out TherapyNotes. They have a free telehealth option. You can do your billing directly through there. The credit card processing is really competitive. And what makes them so great is that they have a wonderful customer service. So you can pick up the phone, you can get the assistance that you need, and you can really do everything you need to do through there. You can do your telehealth sessions, bill insurance. They have an online portal for your clients to fill out paperwork. You can send super bills, you can send statements. Really, really a great platform. So be sure to check out TherapyNotes. So going back to cutting expenses, I want you to take a look at really what is meaningful to you and your practice. There is no right or wrong for your budget. I am the kind of person who I like to look for averages, right? And say, okay, what's the industry standard for rent? Maybe you really want an in-person practice and having a beautiful office is really on brand for you. And that might be a higher cost item for your practice. Let that be. Just know that there may be other areas where you need to you need to cut back, or you just need to make more money, right? So that your budget aligns with your practice aligns with your budget. If your office is $2,000 a month, or I'm just throwing a number out there, then you know that you need to be making a good amount of money in order to pay for the expenses that you have. So the other way is to cut your budget, but also to raise your budget, raise what you're doing, raise your rates, raise how many clients you're seeing, raise, get the raises from the insurances, shift what kind of, practices that you're doing so that the amount of money that you have coming in aligns better with your budget and what you want to do. If you're not the kind of person who wants to cut, expenses, which I totally understand that too. So I hope this was helpful. Wishing you a very prosperous 2022. See you soon, everybody. Bye.